The pristine white laboratory aboard the Galactic Council's research vessel, Stellar Seeker, hummed with nervous energy. 3 alien scientists huddled around a holographic display, their elongated fingers trembling as they reviewed the latest scan results. Their subject, a human named Dr. Reed, lay peacefully sleeping in the observation chamber next door, unaware of the commotion he was causing. "This cannot be correct," Chief Scientist Blue muttered, his translucent skin reflecting the blue glow of the display. "Run the bone density scan again." The youngest scientist, Green, quickly tapped the controls. The results remained unchanged. "Sir, this is the 5th scan today. The human skeletal structure is still showing increased density, even in our ship's reduced gravity." Blue's large, oval eyes blinked rapidly in confusion. The human had been their guest for 3 standard cycles now, ever since their research vessel had intercepted his small exploration ship near the edges of known space. Initially, they had been fascinated by his resilience. Humans were known to come from Earth, a brutal death world with crushing gravity and extreme weather patterns. But what they were discovering now defied all known biological principles. "Look at these readings from when we first brought him aboard." Red, the medical expert, pointed at the earlier data. His bone density was already far beyond our species' norm, but instead of deteriorating in our lower gravity environment as expected, it's actually increasing. The observation chamber's soft lighting illuminated Dr. Reed's sleeping form. He was a specimen of average height for his species, with the characteristic solid build of a Deathworlder. The scientists had been careful to keep him comfortable, maintaining Earth-standard temperature and atmosphere in his chamber. They even provided him with entertainment and books, though they carefully filtered out any information about their research. "It's as if his skeletal structure is actively adapting," Blue mused, pulling up a microscopic view of Reed's bone tissue. "See these unusual cell formations. They're continuously strengthening the bone matrix, even without the stress of high gravity. I've never seen anything like it." A sudden movement from the observation chamber caught their attention. Reed had woken up and was doing what he called exercises, a series of physical movements that the aliens found puzzling. The scientists watched in fascination as he performed what he termed push-ups, his muscles and bones working in perfect harmony. "Should we stop him?" Green asked nervously. "These activities might affect our readings." Blue shook his head, his antennae quivering with excitement. "No, let him continue. This might help us understand how they've managed to colonize so many harsh worlds so quickly." The truth was, the Galactic Council had been baffled by humanity's rapid expansion across death worlds that other species deemed uninhabitable. Traditional theory suggested that species from high-gravity worlds would weaken when moving to lower-gravity environments. Yet humans seemed to thrive everywhere they went. As they watched Reed complete his exercise routine, Red made a startling observation. "Look at these neural readings." She pointed to a new set of data. "His body isn't just maintaining its strength. It's actively preparing for higher stresses. It's like his entire biological system expects to face greater challenges." Blue felt a chill run down his spine. "This changes everything we thought we knew about biological adaptation. If humans can actually grow stronger in response to adverse conditions." He left the thought unfinished, but his colleagues understood the implications. In the observation chamber, Reed finished his exercises and walked to the small desk where he kept his journal. The aliens had allowed him this small comfort, believing his writings would provide insight into human psychology. What they didn't know was that hidden between his personal observations, Reed was meticulously documenting everything he noticed about his captors, especially their surprisingly fragile physical structure. As he wrote, a small smile played across his face. Soon, very soon, this information would prove invaluable. But for now, he would keep exercising, keep observing, and keep getting stronger. After all, that's what humans did best: adapt and overcome. The research team's discovery about human bone density had caused such a stir that the Stellar Seeker's captain ordered an emergency meeting. In the ship's main conference room, Blue stood before a group of senior officers, his hand shaking as he presented the latest findings. What you're about to see changes everything we thought we knew about human biology, Blue said, activating a large holographic display. Two skeletal structures appeared side by side. One was Reed's, and the other belonged to a standard galactic citizen. The captain leaned forward, his gray scales reflecting the dim light. "Explain what we're looking at, Chief Scientist." Blue pointed to the human skeleton. "This is our subject after 3 cycles in lower gravity. Notice how the bone structure isn't just maintaining its density. It's actually becoming denser. When we simulated applying extreme pressure to both structures, the results were disturbing." He played the simulation. The standard galactic skeleton cracked under modest pressure, while the human bones flexed and grew stronger. Several officers shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "But that's impossible," one of the medical officers protested. "No species can actively strengthen their skeleton without corresponding environmental pressures. It defies basic biological principles." Red stepped forward, holding up a data tablet. "We thought so too. But look at this." She projected a series of cellular images. "Human bones don't just heal when broken. They rebuild themselves stronger than before. It's like their bodies remember every challenge they faced and prepare for worse." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. It explained so much about humanity's success, their rapid expansion across harsh worlds, their ability to survive in environments that would cripple other species, their seemingly impossible recovery from injuries that would permanently disable anyone else. "There's more," Green added, his voice trembling slightly. "We've been analyzing their historical medical records. Humans from Earth's regions with different gravity levels all showed similar adaptation patterns. They literally evolved to become stronger in response to whatever tried to break them." The captain's facial scales darkened, a sign of deep concern. "How did we miss this during initial contact?" "Because we were looking at the wrong things," Blue explained. "We focused on their technology, their weapons, their ships. We never thought to look at something as basic as their skeletal structure. We assumed that coming from a death world meant they would be strong but brittle, like all other high-gravity species we encountered." Suddenly, the ship's medical alert system activated. Red quickly checked her tablet and gasped. "Sir, the human. He's initiated another one of his exercise routines, but this time he's using the furniture as weights. His bone density readings are spiking." Through the conference room's display, they watched as Reed lifted his bed with seemingly little effort. In their ship's lower gravity, what should have been an impossible task for even a Deathworlder looked almost easy. "Look at these readings," Green whispered, pulling up live data. "His skeletal structure is actively reinforcing itself. It's like his bones are learning." The captain stood up abruptly. "This information cannot leave this ship. If other species learn that humans not only survive in death worlds, but actually grow stronger from the experience." He left the implications hanging in the air. Blue nodded in agreement but felt a growing unease. In the observation chamber, Reed had finished his improvised workout and was calmly writing in his journal again. But this time, Blue noticed something different in the human's posture, a quiet confidence that hadn't been there before. "Sir," Red spoke up, her voice barely a whisper, "there's one more thing. We found trace evidence of microfractures in his bones from before his capture. They've not only healed but are now the strongest points in his skeleton. It's as if..." "As if what?" the captain demanded. "As if his entire species evolved to turn damage into armor," she finished. In the silence that followed, they all watched Reed through the observation window. He looked up briefly, directly at the hidden camera, and smiled, a simple gesture that suddenly seemed far more significant than ever before. None of them noticed that the data they were so carefully guarding had already begun transmitting, bit by bit, through a clever modification Reed had made to his room's environmental controls. The signal was weak, but it was steady, carrying humanity's greatest biological secret back to Earth, one pulse at a time. Admiral White stood at the massive window of the Galactic Defense Force headquarters, his aged hands clasped behind his back. The 3 moons of the Council homeworld cast long shadows across the city below. On his desk, the report from the Stellar Seeker glowed ominously. "Play the simulation again," he ordered. His tactical officer, Gray, nodded and activated the holographic display. The image showed 2 soldiers in combat, one human, one standard galactic trooper. As they watched, both took similar impacts from debris and weapons fire. The galactic soldier's skeleton cracked under the pressure. The human's bones absorbed the impact, grew denser, and kept fighting. "Run it with different scenarios," White commanded. "Change the gravity, the weapons, the environmental conditions." Scene after scene played out. In every simulation, the result was the same. The human soldier not only survived but emerged stronger. It defied everything they knew about warfare. "Sir," Gray said, his voice tight with concern, "the implications are troubling. The humans don't just heal, they adapt. A broken bone becomes a stronger bone. A survived attack becomes a new defense. They're literally evolving during combat." White touched a control, bringing up footage from their recent border skirmishes. "Look at this battle on Colony World 7, he said. "We always wondered how their troops kept fighting after our initial bombardment. Now we know. We weren't wearing them down. We were making them stronger." The door chimed, and Fleet Commander Black entered, carrying fresh data from their intelligence division. "Admiral, it gets worse," she said, placing a new data crystal on his desk. "We've analyzed records from every human conflict we could find. They deliberately train by breaking and rebuilding their bones. They call it getting stronger." The Admiral activated the crystal. Images filled the room. Human military training facilities where soldiers deliberately subjected themselves to increasing levels of stress and impact. What the aliens had previously dismissed as primitive exercise routines now revealed themselves as systematic strengthening programs. "How did we miss this?" White wondered aloud. "Because it's so simple," Black replied. "We were looking for advanced technology, secret weapons, hidden advantages. We never imagined their power was literally growing inside them." A priority alert flashed across their screens. Gray quickly pulled up the message and paled. "Sir, we've lost contact with the Stellar Seeker." White's eyes narrowed. "The research vessel? What happened?" "Unknown, sir. Their last transmission was routine." "But," Gray paused, double-checking the data, "there's something odd. Their power consumption spiked just before communications cut off, as if someone was transmitting a massive amount of data," Black finished grimly. White turned back to the window, his reflection grim in the glass. Their test subject, the human doctor. Could he have? "Impossible," Gray interrupted. "He was contained in a secure observation chamber. All his communications were monitored." But even as he spoke, they all remembered what they had just learned about humans. The impossible seemed to be their specialty. "Send a scout ship," White ordered. "But tell them to keep their distance. If the human has somehow—" Another alert cut him off. This one came from their long-range sensors. A small ship, barely larger than an escape pod, had just made the jump to faster-than-light travel. Its trajectory pointed directly toward Earth. "Track it," White commanded, but they all knew it was too late. In the chaos of losing contact with the Stellar Seeker, the small ship had gotten too much of a head start. "Sir," Black said quietly, "if that human reaches Earth with what he's learned about our physiology." White nodded slowly. The humans would finally understand why they had been so successful in their expansion. Their natural ability to grow stronger from adversity wasn't just an evolutionary quirk, it was the perfect adaptation for a species destined for the stars. "Prepare a full report for the Council," he ordered. "They need to know that we're not dealing with just another Deathworld species. We're dealing with something that's never been seen before, a race that doesn't just survive challenges. They thrive on them." As the others hurried to comply, White remained at the window, watching the stars. Somewhere out there, a human was racing home with knowledge that would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. And there wasn't a thing they could do to stop it. Deep within Earth's primary military command center, buried under 2 kilometers of reinforced rock, Commander Stone stared at the incoming transmission with a mix of disbelief and growing excitement. The message had come in fragments, cleverly hidden in what appeared to be random space static, but its contents were revolutionary. "Play the key sections again," he ordered, and the room's holographic system sprang to life. Reed's face appeared, tired but triumphant. "Commander, what I've discovered aboard the alien vessel changes everything we thought we knew about our own capabilities. Their scans revealed something extraordinary about human bones." The display shifted to show detailed medical scans and alien research data. Lieutenant Oak, their lead medical officer, stepped forward and pointed at several key readings. "Sir, do you understand what this means?" she asked, her voice filled with wonder. "All these years, we thought our success on harsh worlds was just due to our determination. But look at these cellular patterns." Stone nodded slowly. The data showed human bone structures actively responding to stress, not just healing but evolving. Every break, every strain, every challenge made them stronger. It wasn't just training or technology that had let humanity thrive on worlds other species feared. It was their very biology. "What's even more interesting," Oak continued, pulling up comparison scans, "is what Dr. Reed discovered about our alien friends. Their skeletal structures are remarkably uniform and fragile." The room fell silent as they studied the alien bone scans. Where human bones showed varying densities and constant adaptation, alien bones remained unchanged, perfect for their original environment, but unable to strengthen themselves in response to new challenges. "Get me General Wood," Stone ordered. "He needs to see this immediately." While they waited for the general's secure connection, Stone reviewed Reed's escape plan. The doctor had been brilliant, using his gradually increasing strength in the ship's lower gravity to break free, while simultaneously transmitting vital data back to Earth through modified environmental controls. The main screen lit up with General Wood's stern face. "This better be good, Commander. I was in a council meeting. Sir, Dr. Reed is alive. He escaped alien captivity and is heading home. But more importantly, he's discovered why we've been so successful in our expansion." As Stone shared the data, the general's expression shifted from skepticism to amazement. "Confirm this," he ordered. "I want every piece of data verified." "Already done, sir," Oak responded. "We've compared it with our own medical records. All those training accidents, all those broken bones that healed stronger. It wasn't just random. Our bodies are literally designed to grow stronger from adversity." The general leaned back in his chair, a rare smile crossing his face. "Do you know what this means for our colonization efforts?" Stone nodded. "We can expand to even harsher worlds now. Instead of worrying about the toll on our people, we can use the conditions to make them stronger." "And our military applications?" the general prompted. Lieutenant Oak stepped forward again. "Sir, based on this data, we can design training programs that specifically trigger this adaptation. Every soldier could literally become stronger with each challenge they face." A new alert flashed across their screens, long-range sensors detecting multiple alien vessels moving toward human space. The aliens had obviously realized what Reed's escape meant. "They're scared," Stone observed. "They've just discovered that every attempt they've made to contain us has only made us stronger." General Wood's expression turned serious. "Options. We could prepare for conflict," Stone suggested, "but I have another idea." He pulled up Reed's complete data set. "Look at these alien physiological scans. Their bone weakness is treatable. With our understanding of skeletal enhancement, we could help them." Oak finished, catching on quickly. "Instead of using this as a weapon, we could offer it as a cure." The general considered this for a long moment. A race that grows stronger by facing challenges, offering to help others do the same. He smiled. How perfectly human. Stone turned to the tactical display, where dozens of alien ships were now visible. Should I prepare our forces for possible conflict, sir? No, the general decided. Prepare our medical teams instead. Let's show them something they've never seen before. A species that doesn't just overcome their own limitations, but helps others do the same. As the command center burst into activity, Stone looked at the final image Reed had transmitted. A simple diagram showing how human bones grew stronger after healing. It wasn't just a scientific discovery anymore. It was becoming a bridge between species, a chance to turn potential enemies into allies. And somewhere in space, aboard a small escape pod, Dr. Reed smiled as he pushed his engines to their limits, knowing that his discovery would change not just humanity's future, but the future of all species in the galaxy. Dr. Reed sat quietly in his observation chamber aboard the Stellar Seeker, watching the alien scientists through their supposedly one-way glass. After 3 cycles of captivity, he had memorized their routines perfectly. More importantly, he had finally confirmed his theories about their skeletal structure. Time to test just how strong these bones have become, he whispered to himself, feeling the unusual lightness in his limbs from the ship's lower gravity. The door slid open, and Green entered for the daily medical scan. Reed had been waiting for this moment. In the lower gravity, his Earth-adapted muscles and increasingly dense bones gave him a strength that the aliens hadn't calculated. "Good morning, Subject Reed," Green said politely, setting up the scanning equipment. "Please remain still for the procedure." Reed smiled. "Actually, I think it's time for a practical demonstration." In one fluid motion, he stood up from his bed. The movement, practiced hundreds of times in his daily exercises, was far faster than the aliens believed possible. Green backed away, reaching for the alarm panel, but Reed was already moving. His enhanced bones and muscles, strengthened further by weeks in lower gravity, let him cross the room in a single bound. "Fascinating, isn't it?" Reed said, holding Green's arm firmly but carefully. "How human bones adapt and grow stronger. While yours." He let the implication hang in the air. The alarm finally sounded, but Reed had planned for this too. Using Green as a shield, he moved into the corridor. The alien's lightweight bone structure made him easy to control without causing harm. "Reed." Blue's voice came over the ship's communication system. "Think about what you're doing." "Oh, I have," Reed replied, knowing they could hear him. "I've thought about it every time you scanned my bones, every time you marveled at how they kept getting stronger. But did you ever wonder why I kept exercising?" Security forces appeared at both ends of the corridor, their weapons trained on him. Reed noticed how they held back, afraid of hitting Green. Their caution revealed another weakness. They were too fragile to risk direct confrontation. "The escape pods are sealed," Red announced through the speakers. "You have nowhere to go." Reed laughed. "Are they sealed? I've had 3 cycles to study your systems through the environmental controls you so kindly let me access. Would you like to know what else I learned while you were studying my bones?" He reached the nearest computer terminal, and still holding Green, entered the code he had pieced together from countless observations. The ship's artificial gravity flickered. "Impossible." Blue's voice showed real fear now. "How did you?" "We humans don't just get physically stronger," Reed explained, entering more commands. "We adapt in every way. Pattern recognition, problem solving, survival skills. They all improve under pressure." The gravity shifted again, dropping to near zero. The security forces, unused to such conditions, began floating helplessly. Reed, however, had trained for zero gravity on Earth. "I'm going to release you now," he told Green gently. "I suggest you all focus on preventing injuries in zero gravity rather than chasing me. Your bones, after all, aren't designed for impacts." Using the weightless environment to his advantage, Reed pushed off towards the escape pod section. Behind him, he could hear the chaos as the aliens struggled to adapt to the changing conditions. You don't understand. Blue's voice was desperate now. The Council will see this as an act of war. Reed reached the escape pod and began the launch sequence. No, you don't understand. If I wanted to harm you, I would have done it already. Instead, I'm leaving you with something valuable. Data that proves humans don't just survive challenges, we grow stronger from them. And soon, we'll show you how to do the same. The pod's door sealed shut. Through the window, Reed could see the aliens finally regaining some control in the zero-gravity environment. He felt a surge of respect for their quick learning, even as he initiated the launch sequence. Thank you for your hospitality, he broadcast one final time. And don't worry about tracking this pod. The data I'm transmitting will be much more interesting than following me. As the escape pod launched into space, Reed couldn't help but smile. His bones had grown stronger in captivity, but that wasn't the only thing that had evolved. Understanding had grown too. Understanding that would change both species forever. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so chaotic. Representatives from 37 spacefaring species filled the circular room, their voices rising in a cacophony of fear and outrage. At the center of the chamber, a holographic display showed the latest data about human skeletal adaptation. Council Leader Purple stood at the main podium, trying to restore order. Please, honored representatives, we must approach this situation with calm. Calm. The representative from the Crystal Worlds, his crystalline form shimmering with agitation, rose from his seat. We just learned that the humans literally grow stronger from everything that should weaken them. How can we be calm? The room erupted again. Defense Minister Black, who had just finished presenting Admiral White's report, watched the chaos with growing concern. The fear was spreading faster than the facts. Their bones adapt to any environment, shouted one representative. They get stronger when injured, called another. They've been evolving right under our noses. Purple slammed his ceremonial staff against the floor, the sound echoing through the chamber. Enough. We will hear from our chief scientist. Blue stepped forward, still looking tired from the incident aboard the Stellar Seeker. The escape of their human subject had cost him sleep, but had also provided invaluable data. Honorable Council, he began. While it's true that human skeletal structures demonstrate unprecedented adaptation abilities, there's something else you need to see. He activated a new holographic display, showing the final message Reed had transmitted before his escape. The human's face appeared above the council floor, causing several representatives to flinch. But his words surprised them all. To the Galactic Council, what you've discovered about human adaptation isn't a weapon. It's an opportunity. Our ability to grow stronger through adversity isn't just for survival. It's for understanding. We offer to share our medical knowledge, to help develop treatments that could strengthen the bones of any species. After all, growing stronger together is better than growing stronger alone. Silence fell over the chamber. The Crystal World representative spoke first, his voice quieter now. Is this possible? Could their medical knowledge really help other species? Blue nodded. Initial analysis of their data suggests yes. The basic principles could be adapted for various physiologies. With their help, we could develop treatments for dozens of bone-related conditions across multiple species. It could revolutionize colonization efforts. Black added, species that could never survive on higher gravity worlds might have a chance with proper medical treatment. A new alert flashed across the main display. Long-range sensors had detected multiple ships entering Council space, but instead of warships, they were medical vessels, led by Dr. Reed's small escape pod. They're not attacking, Purple observed, surprise evident in his voice. They're requesting permission to dock at our medical stations. The council chamber erupted again, but this time with different energy. Representatives huddled in groups, discussing possibilities rather than threats. The fear was being replaced by curiosity, then hope. Think about it, Blue urged the council. A species that doesn't just overcome challenges, but learns to help others do the same. Isn't that exactly what our council was formed to encourage? On the main screen, the human medical ships held position, waiting patiently. Their weapon systems remained powered down, a clear sign of peaceful intent. "There's more," Black added, pulling up Reed's complete data transmission. 1 year after the dramatic events at the Galactic Council, the main medical station orbiting Earth had become the busiest research facility in known space. In the central laboratory, Dr. Reed stood before a large observation window, watching as aliens from dozens of species participated in carefully designed exercise programs. "The results from the latest treatment group are in," Lieutenant Oak reported, handing him a data tablet. 98% success rate in bone density improvement across 15 different species. Reed smiled as he watched a Crystal World citizen successfully complete a high-gravity training session, something that would have been impossible just months ago. And the adaptation response. "Getting stronger with each generation of the treatment," Oak confirmed. "Just like we hoped." The laboratory door slid open, and Blue entered, looking very different from the nervous scientist who had once studied Reed as a specimen. Now he was Earth's primary liaison to the Galactic Medical Council. "The Council has reviewed the latest data," Blue announced, his own movements noticeably more confident in Earth's gravity. "They're calling it the greatest medical breakthrough in galactic history." Reed turned to face his former captor, now one of his closest allies. "How are the colonial expansion programs going?" Blue's expression brightened. 17 previously uninhabitable worlds have been successfully colonized in the past 6 months. Species that were confined to their home systems are now reaching for the stars. He paused, then added, "All thanks to humanity's secret being revealed." On the other side of the window, Commander Stone was leading a demonstration for a group of alien military officers. Not about weapons or tactics, but about safe training methods to strengthen their troops without risking injury. "It's strange," Oak mused, watching the session. "A year ago, they thought our adaptive bones made us dangerous. Now they see it as the key to their own evolution." Speaking of evolution, Blue interjected, "The latest scans show something fascinating. The treatment isn't just strengthening bones, it's activating dormant genetic pathways. Some species are showing signs of natural adaptation abilities, just like humans." Reed nodded, unsurprised. "That was always the goal. Not to make them dependent on our treatments, but to awaken their own potential for growth and adaptation." The station's main display activated, showing ships arriving from across the galaxy. Each carried new patients, new researchers, and new possibilities. The fear that had once gripped the Galactic Council had been replaced by an enthusiasm for discovery. "General Wood is on the line," Oak announced. "The military cooperation treaty has been finalized. All species agree. This knowledge will be used for peaceful expansion and mutual protection only." Reed walked to another observation window, this one looking down at Earth. "You know what the best part is?" he asked his companions. "We're learning as much from them as they are from us. Each species brings new insights, new approaches." Blue stepped up beside him. "When we first captured you, we thought we were studying a dangerous anomaly. Instead, we discovered a template for universal advancement." "Not just advancement," Stone said, joining them after finishing his demonstration. "Understanding. Every species faces challenges. Now they know that overcoming them together is better than facing them alone." A small alert chimed. Another breakthrough in the research lab. Oak quickly checked the data and laughed. The crystalline species just showed a 15% improvement in structural integrity after their latest treatment. They're calling it a miracle. "No," Reed corrected gently, "not a miracle. Just the natural result of different species learning from each other. We showed them that growing stronger through adversity was possible. They showed us how to apply that knowledge in ways we never imagined." Through the window, Earth continued its eternal rotation, but it was no longer seen as a fearsome death world. Instead, it had become a symbol of hope, a place where the secret of growing stronger had been discovered and freely shared. So, Blue asked, watching as another group of patients successfully completed their treatments, "What's next?" Reed smiled, looking at the stars beyond Earth. "We keep growing stronger, not just in our bones, but in our connections, our understanding, and our unity. After all," he added, "that's the greatest strength any species can develop." As if in agreement, a new ship appeared in orbit, bringing more seekers of knowledge from across the galaxy. The secret of humanity's unbreakable skeletons had started as a source of fear, but had become something far more valuable, a foundation for a stronger, more united galaxy.